All right, so I'm gonna play through this mostly on my own, and I guess I'll try to pause some. It's gonna be harder for like Toby and Bayern to kind of like try to chime in. I guess they could watch the stream if they want, but I'll try to talk about my thought process because that's I think what makes the most sense because like I kind of remember a lot of the stuff that was going through my head back then when I was watching or playing it yesterday.
I distinctly remember Toby. This is Toby. Get in the back, farther back, all the way back.
Yeah, further back.
You're not far. You're not far enough.
Be behind their spawn.
Yeah, exactly. See those cars back.
Fence. Yeah.
But you're totally right.
Do you know why you should go to the back of spawn, by the way?
All right, so I'm making it up to the hill because I have front spawn. So I think front spawn generally should go to the hill to like get position. And I also like playing for M bar, so it's just kind of like nice here. I was spending more time crossing the guys in the middle who are affecting where the drop shot pickup is and where other teammates are to try to help them win that fight over there instead of like prioritizing a little bit more my side because I could get instant from that side. Usually I'm like watching on the right side of my screen as I'm crossing down like the middle lane here on this map. And usually that's enough to be safe from like most threats. And as soon as someone starts going wide, then I'll try to play back or try to like turn my Lancer on them and try to get damage on them while they're coming, depending on how fast I am at doing that. But it's just perfectly or good thrown instants are still hard to dodge, especially when you're on cover, so you have to pull off and then like kind of roll off to the side or whatever. So I ended up dying from the instant. Down on pickup too.
Nice.
Oh, the boom shot got me.
So my team is kind of on this side, so I'm trying to sort of play with Toby right here. I start taking damage from baby steps, so I come back to Toby. And we're like in that little cubby, and he moves forward and I move forward with him. This is all like subconscious. I'm not even really thinking about this that much. We start taking damage from baby steps again, and we're coming back. We keep coming back into the corner and trying to stay next to each other in case we start taking a lot of damage, and then we'll call for a res.
Yeah.
And then he made a decent play. He ended up having frags. He threw a good frag, pushed us out of the corner. Had a huge advantage from that.
Good from us though to actually get out of that corner in the end.
Yeah, we
watching it back.
reacted to it pretty well. Retro and
Tiller. We couldn't play that much better, really.
Just trying to get damage out on those players as they're rotating into the middle while I have the opportunity to get damage. This guy's going wide behind me, and so I know I have to either go wide to like meet them, and then as soon as I start seeing multiple people going wide in the back where the nades are, then I know, well, okay, I have to go even further wide, and so that's when I drop down off the plat and start thinking about trying to go down into spawn on this side where I am right now, like to kind of run away and try to maintain as much map presence as I can while still staying safe. But I didn't realize there were that many players pushing around the back where the nades are that fast. So they went wide so fast that I felt like I kind of got stuck. And I decided to take this fight against the Lizzie on plat, where I have some semblance of cover here against the Lizzie that's on the plat. So if I can down her really quick or get a lot of damage on her, I might be able to, and depending on what the other players are doing, if they didn't know I'm here or something, I might be able to like still get as much efficiency as I can, even though I'm in a really bad spot where I'm like surrounded. But I end up like sort of missing shots, and Lizzie's hitting shots, and I'm probably just gonna die from my side, in a few seconds anyway.
Shooting.
Yeah, they start crossing me from that side in the back corner next to the hill. There are two on that hill.
What I'd have suggested is carry on running as soon as you drop down.
Yeah, I might have. Yeah, I might have been able to do that. I kind of felt like I couldn't
Oh, they spawned right.
at that point, but yeah, I might have been able to do that.
Nice, good shot.
This is kind of
Yeah,
us
the
moving
retro.
together. I'm trying to move up to the hill, kind of help whoever's at the front, who is most likely to be targeted, focused, and usually the people who are closest to the hill
Both hurt on the hill.
are the ones that are going to get focused and targeted.
I'll cross your hands. Just slay.
Nice, they're 3 dead. They're 3 up. Or they're 1 dead now.
One on plat.
I'm wide on Stanley's.
Two on plat, rather.
I was able to recognize from X-ray that what cover he was on. I knew I could get it across in a second. It's not complicated.
Hurt.
I get damaged and I play back instead of trying to go for that kill to preserve my life over
2-2, baby.
getting the kill.
Nice.
Three
Good
dead,
shot.
3 dead.
4 dead.
Or
retro's
4.
One
up.
going retro. Kill him, kill him.
Yeah, he just got it.
See that gamer? If we downed him there, that'd be hilarious.
Stanley's is 4-pointed.
It's a good idea to turn your character model away from
Ooh, ring hands.
Found him.
away from where enemies are most likely to be to shoot you from or to come off spawn, because that gives them a much smaller hitbox for headshots. So if you're picking it up facing towards them, they can see your entire head. But if you're turned directly away from them, they can only shoot the very top of your model, and that's the only place where they can get headshots. And the guns like magnetizing to the shoulders and the body, some too. I think the headshot hitbox isn't on the top of the model; it's still a little bit forward and lower. So it's a good idea to turn around, and you could do that with controller too. It's not hard to turn your model around as you're picking up the weapon with controller. I think a lot of people should be doing that more.
2 in the truck.
I get inactive and go for a cheeky boom.
Oh, that was so
I actually
close.
kind of like barely missed. It was just a little bit low.
Yeah, yep. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, that was so close.
And that truck really likes eating the AoE, because if you put it through the front windshield, it'll go inside the
Wrapping wide left.
inside the truck, and it doesn't go over the top. I should be sort of picking up a retro here, but I didn't necessarily want to. And then I decided against it because I didn't have anything else to shoot
Right
with
down.
realistically.
One of us 3 right now should be in spawn.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
never been able to take spawn off us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to be playing further wide around the back
Before the cap. Yeah.
and trying to kill that. Yeah, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So I move up with Boom here. I think I'm the only one on our
I'm
team
on next.
that's over here by the hill. And honestly, I probably should be trying to play
One's
for that
wrapping
truck.
wide left.
Bare minimum. I could even play further back.
Yeah. The goal here, Nick, Lim, or you, should have been to beat the spawn, beat them to the spawn, because it was always going to be a race for that. And
I'm going
we
down next to truck.
had enough information to know they're going to be going that way.
I had a poor target prioritization there. I went for someone who was shooting, but I wasn't paying attention to the other the Lizzie that was kind of in front, who had the ability to go wide if I wasn't looking.
Trying to wrap
back.
wide.
And so as soon as I started shooting that other person, that Lizzie wrapped around and got that back truck. And that's actually where I should have been, honestly.
Hitting hill,
The truck next to the hill is insanely good, but
Still on a truck.
the point man in the hill area needs to be in the back
We try to take spawn.
because it's the most important to grab that side of the map.
Hit truck a couple.
But that's something that I could have done better.
And the reason I was saying to anyone listening why you'd want to get to the back of the spawn, it's literally to prevent them being able to push you. It's not for any like better angle or anything.
Yeah, and not even necessarily to block spawns. That's just a natural thing. It's
just as far back as it allows, and because people can't go as wide on you, they have to literally straight line you and get to your cover
right,
and run across lancers aiming at them.
especially for these hills that are on the side of the map and not in the middle.
Yeah. Like in an ideal world, us trying to break this now is literally send majority of our resources to fly far
Nice.
right as you can to get the guy. No like pushes on the left truck.
Shit, sorry, I thought we were all bad.
It should be just direct at the guy on the far right, and then you turn back on, and then you have the angle on the hill, and you go from there.
So we got wiped over there, and Baron was the last one up. Baron should be trying to stay alive, which he sort of is doing.
Someone spawned behind
He's also trying to figure out where players are.
you going for Embar?
I come around through this middle area and to try to get shots on. I see some movement around here, and I'm like interested in trying to hit people if they try to go to cat or back through middle to this hop over. But they stop and like cross back at me. And as soon as I see two people here and one person stopping to cross at me, I should immediately. I should be dead actually. But I should still react immediately to the 1v2 and try to conserve my life and try to run away. I make that play, but much slower than I normally would. I was like not as firm, I guess, in that decision making. Like I was trying to figure out what was best, and I was a little bit slow. So I kept crossing for a little bit, and that was a little bit too long. I should have gone down there. And then I know this angle exists. And also, because I'm really 4, I get next to, I think that was Lim that I was crossing with. So if I had gone down, or he had gone down, we could res each other. So I like go to my teammate when I'm really hurt.
Next, boys.
My teammate just happened, like naturally, went towards a spot that was good, that I was also thinking about going to as well, because we both know it's strong. So if he's in a good position, a position that I normally would want to be in, me playing with him is a lot more natural, and we don't have to talk. Lim, we didn't even have Lim in comms. So it helps when all of the players kind of know good moves to make or kind of what's best. You tend to be closer together naturally, and that was a good example of that. I kind of wanted to back up because I was really hurt, kind of go to Lim, but also that would be the next spot that I would go to try to cross those guys, is over the barbed wire.
Nice. Same spot, Nick.
So they're kind of stuck right now. Tiller, Culture, Emil. Pushing through here is like dicey, and they ended up making it through when we didn't have like Lancers out. But those 3 players like kind of stuck in there in the middle, and you have so few options, and you can get crossed very easily from the sides. So they needed to commit to something, either go forward, sort of like what they did, or back up and go through baby steps and out of that area.
I'm hitting cars.
I'm thinking about trying to hop up through plat or try to play from plat on whoever's on hill, and so I smoke that wide. And then I waited to try to get more information about where the players might be, and to see if anyone is like peeking right around here on the right hand, because there's a right hand. They could be behind the wall and looking over the top. But I know I have a lot of teammates around me, and so it's like really likely that if they want to try to get any shots or any damage, that they're gonna poke their head out, because that's what I would do. I want to put myself in a position where I can immediately start shooting as soon as someone comes off the cover. So I throw that smoke, which blocks the nade side. If I wanted to hop up and plat, because that's what I was thinking of doing, which is kind of what I ended up doing. And then I see I have 2 teammates over here. So I'm thinking, okay, if I have this blocked, I have 2 teammates over here, I might be able to pinch anyone who might be in here, because they're watching Nick and Toby on the other side of the map. But I'm also like waiting to see if I can get an angle here, and I'm watching that right hand here, and then I hop up with a shotgun out. I see that guy isn't looking at me at all. I just go for a shot. These just normal fights. Reacting to the frag quickly is important. You kind of want to calculate where the frag is going to be as it's being thrown. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I'm just going to like say that's my thought process, I guess. So I knew where it was going to go to. So if I knew as soon as I back rolled, I'll be out of the frag radius, which blew up over here.
Nice. There's one more on the hill.
This is not a really great spot, and you kind of want you don't want to be in and around this area for very long. Pretty much for what just happened. Like there's someone in front on the hill, and also it's very easily for players to spawn, especially in KotH, to spawn over by where Ambar is, and they can shoot through the middle super easily. So we were calling out damage. I was still really hurt too.
Yeah, spawn snipes. Yep, they're pushing.
So I was trying to play for revives, which is why I doubled back for a split second.
He's 4. Mac. Slow down. Two dead.
That Emil should not be able to get out. He should be a kill. Yeah, and he dies. We got damage on him, and then Toby could play wide enough to go for a good like one shot, or not one shot, but like high damage shot.
They're at next.
I play wide on this guy, so I get around on this side of the M bar, and if he doesn't match me at this this little L cover, I'm wide enough to have my right hand advantage here where I am right now. So even if he makes it up here, I'll still have right hand, which is why I went for it. But he has to play wide like immediately, so that's why me going around him is so effective, because of pretty much this one cover. I get right hand as soon as I win it, which makes me much more confident about winning that fight.
Get really wide through the spawn.
And that guy should have backed out a little bit sooner
On the.
Back left.
and hopped over sooner.
Yeah, there's two.
Rehand is down. Killed
I don't
one.
have any smokes.
Oh,
Okay, one
okay.
ran to truck.
Can't believe
one
that
guy
shot
left.
went through him.
Shooting culture.
So we're now playing for wide on this hill. We're not playing direct. We're not playing through the middle.
Okay, I think I'm gonna
We're
go
like
down.
playing through around wide as we can, but they already have a setup over there,
Right.
and the guns do so much damage that it's really difficult to push, even with smokes, honestly. But that's something that we should
I got-
try
I
to
got
coordinate.
my boom with me.
But there's only so many attempts that you have with respawns and smokes before a hill becomes or gets to a point where it's not worth pushing and trying to
I'll
retake.
smoke in front of boom for you, Bay.
Because if there's like less than 20 points on the hill, it's really not
I got
worth
two here playing for boom. He
the
died.
time and energy to retake.
I got spawn. Come with me, people.
Rance is down the boom. He used one.
He's still at boom, guys.
Breaking hill.
He's alright out.
Truck, guys,
Okay, I
look at
broke
truck.
it.
Look at the angle.
Out of boom.
Oh, hit for 67 on me. Stanley's.
So Toby has wide, but since he's only one player right now, he's like,
I'm coming.
doing a kind of a secret man, just trying to hold.
Not much time now. You might as well
Stay
stay
Yeah.
alive above all else
Yeah.
to stop them from getting the spawn, and for us to keep an angle of some kind.
Right,
Don't have to
exactly.
down anyone, but just to keep that angle.
Okay.
Yeah, in case we move
It
up,
gives so much more access.
then he can pinch. Yeah, he can get damage from another angle.
Honestly, can't cap.
It was a little bit late, and the other team rotated
I'm going really well.
when
In
they
an-
should.
In an ideal world, I'd rather us,
Culture.
the team, go all in on one objective there, not just split up in half, because we won't really get much done. Like if we knew
Yeah.
that two players were coming through baby steps to challenge boom shot, then if there was more points in the hill, I'd rather just everyone just fly round and try and win the team fight, the numbers advantage at the hill, and then set up there, because it is just still a boom shot. It's just 2 kills in the grand scheme of things. But because the points were so low, in retrospect, then perhaps we should have just called, okay, it's not going to work or not going to be worth it by the time we get through the spawn, given it takes so long. So let's get the boom shot and then use that to set up on the next.
Yeah, just like staying alive. A lot of that stuff will happen naturally if you kind of prioritize staying alive, and work on catching them out when they're out of position, or waiting for one really good push on a hill. Because it seems like if you're extremely fast, you might have 2 really good like 5-man pushes, coordinated pushes, over the life cycle of one hill. But oftentimes it seems like you might only really realistically have one, and then it's probably worth just giving up, for the most part, kind of giving up that hill after your one attempt. So yeah, like if it's a side hill, you might have map control, because they're going to be holding that side of the map where the hill's on, and you could possibly, if you're ultra coordinated, you can send players to go pick up all the weapons on the map while those players are stuck, defending the hill, and then go set up for the next hill.
Who's hurt? He's down.
Embar hurt?
Shooting her.
We're in trouble, we're in trouble.
Down. Bricked on. Rehand's
Mac
dead.
is coming from mid.
Mid. There he is, Tiller.
They're just
Yeah.
hitting shots and
Mid.
playing back and wide
Down
for
on hill, down on hill.
the most part. Oh, that's a cheeky little shot. So since I have right hand here, if I get a shot like that, that's like a 2-point shot, I feel confident enough to go wide. And this player, if they shoot immediately, as soon as I up A, as soon as I pull off the cover and start going wide, they can easily get their second shot up before I can slide in, if that's something that I want to do, which it shouldn't be. I don't think it was what I was thinking there. But I was, it's because she didn't shoot that first shot really soon. I was now in range. Like at this point, I'm in range of me thinking, okay, well, if she shoots a shot now, I can react to it fast enough and slide in to shoot. But this is actually the range where the boundary between 650 slide speed and my reaction time and PC and allows me to make that decision here at this distance from the up A, but I would need to be like a lot closer for me to do the exact same thing on 600 slide speed. I need to be like probably 20% closer or something like that in order for me to be able to react to that first shot and get within the one-shot range. If the Lizzie doesn't back A and then slide away directly, which is kind of what she could be thinking of doing. The problem though is because she's hurt already, if she was going to back up like that, she would likely need to hop over the wall. I'm going to kind of give up the fight and give up the space here. So I'm just like poking for a kill, and usually I go for that slide because up A's are ridiculous and strong.
Something to keep in mind as well from this very moment is if you're pushing the right hand like this that Matt's doing, is to do it fast or not at all. Like you have to make, as soon as you get that first shot around the corner that you mentioned to open like the push potential up, you're on a timer immediately thinking, am I going to try and push this person? And if I am, I need to do it right now as fast as I can within reason of, good success chances, not like just doing a stupid up A where they're waiting for it, but timing the shot, like going for the bait of the shot faster so you can up A or push quicker. And you can see that from Matt. Like as soon as that shot, that shot exchange goes, Matt's immediately back in, right back to the ramp and sprinting back to the team because he doesn't know where the rest of the team is. 2 on boom.
Yeah, like it's
Otherwise,
like
it's a
immediate.
potential throw. Like you don't push that unless it's guaranteed kill. Matt tries to go for the back A there on the replay, doesn't connect, and immediately comes back because it's so much more important that he stays alive than he gets the kill.
Yeah.
Just getting the kill could be just a bit of leverage of skill and smarts to catch out a player and hurt their chances of getting the next hill, but stay alive above all else.
Yep, exactly. And I was mostly, I thought I had like an 80-something% chance that I was gonna down her with that shot because I didn't think she regened all the way, and I thought that shot was gonna do something. But even still, I could still get hit from her or someone else, and I kind of wanted to just like prioritize my life, like exactly what Toby said. If I had up A'd and waited a little bit longer for the shot, she would have been within one-shot range. But that's not something that I was planning on. Like I just wanted to get that next shot out and come back. Like that's what I had planned before as I was about to slide in. That is what I planned for. That shot and then rolling away and trying to stay alive. Just thought there's a really good chance that I could kill her, or at least down her. Sponged it. Well, she was really hurt. I don't think she regened all the way.
That's her, by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, culture.
That's literally
Baby,
her.
baby. I'm fall.
But
Yes, she just got out of range, like as well.
Yeah, that was pretty
Like
close.
if she wasn't red at all and you gave to her, I'd been screaming.
oh yeah, it was outside give range for sure.
It was good that you had a back A though as well instead of an up A because you didn't have to commit then.
Right. Yeah, I didn't.
Uh,
So
St.
you
Lee's
could
really
you could
hurt.
back out and it's a good decision. And then having the one person up just to hold shot like you were doing was pretty good on the right hand.
Shooting.
As long as the rest of the team are helping you in case they swarm through the center.
Oh, that's something else I want to talk about. Even when you
Max lit, Tiller.
so right here, I know Tiller is on this cover, and we had a call out to shoot at Tiller. And usually when someone calls out a player, usually it means that they're hurt already because they're already shooting them. But in fights like this where you have a lot of players focusing one, it's extremely strong to just put damage out in their direction. And if they're on a cover like this, shooting over the top of cover. So if they pull off the cover at all, if they hard aim over the top of cover, if they try to do some kind of cancel shot where their model animation cancels and they're only up for like half the animation and for like a frame of time, you can still sometimes get damage on them. Like if any of those things happen, I will not only get damage on them, but I'll also keep them from regenerating their health, which allows our team to much more easily kill them. So even though I know I wasn't looking at the model, I'm still shooting at a likely place where I could get damage because we're focusing this player.
Yep. Shooting.
Got him.
Nice.
And that's something that I see a lot of players like not do. They like look in a direction, but then they'll decide to just not shoot. Like to them, it's like not worth shooting. And oftentimes ammo is not an issue, and the time that it takes for you to look in that direction and shoot at somewhere where that player can be is worth that time investment, especially when we're calling out to focus that target.
Give
me that a limb.
Yeah, like you said, if we call out a name, it's usually because they're very hurt, or we know
PV or whatever.
like where everybody's positioned, we can angle them out pretty easily.
Yeah, they should die. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you can have like a variation of a call out, like a smart call out. You could call it where I do
playing,
it
baby.
a lot actually. Is if you're aware of where everyone is in relation to the person you're shooting, you can be like, this guy dies. or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
yeah.
is, you know, like for a fact this
I'm
guy
playing,
should
baby.
die, and the benefits of it, and how quickly you can do it. So
Yeah, definitely.
And you want to play numbers. Everyone on the team is thinking about like playing numbers. If not,
yeah, at all times.
if not by minimum, like the minimum of consciously thinking about it, they're all like subconsciously sort of thinking about it, and that will happen naturally when you're prioritizing your life a lot more. So here I'm coming up on the initial. I decided to go baby steps. Just wanted to do that. My smoke ended up fucking up a little bit. The angle that I threw it on and how fast I canceled the throw had the smoke kind of spawn further back and closer into the cover, so it fucked up. I should there are a bunch of
Blame
different
the game.
No, I mean the game is a
Blame the
little
game,
bit
fuck it.
it's a little bit dumb that you can do that. And the left-handed standing blind fire throws around like the left-handed covers, that the nade will spawn kind of off to your side and behind you, so you can actually throw it and it'll spawn a little bit delayed, and you can up A right before the nade spawns, so the nade can like run into your back. It's really stupid. But that's something I don't have as much experience doing, like right here, up Aing on this cover and trying to throw a nade over the top or the side or whatever and try to angle it. That was another reason why I did it, as I haven't done it as much. That's your stream. But I ended up messing it up. And then here, I see this Emil coming up to baby steps, but I am way ahead of him. This is free damage right here. Like I can slide, I can immediately recognize that I can slide in here, and I can get a shot into him before he makes it to baby steps. In order for him to dodge that damage, he would have to roll off to the side, and then I wouldn't commit around and hope that I sort of don't commit around the corner, but that's what I would do, because if he rolls off to that side, that means he's not in cover either, and I can get damage on him. The only thing that's dicey about this is at this point, at this moment, I'm not sure what the timing is for me sliding up here, taking the shot, and then if he is straight lining me this entire time, he's like, okay, fuck it, I'm just going to go for the one shot in the baby steps guy. I might not have my second shot back up. And so usually the best thing to do in a situation like that, if it plays out that way, which it did, is I should pull off the cover and slide away. So that removes his option to like do the fuck it straight line, I'm going to one-shot him play. Because if he had straight lined to this corner, he would have been able to slide in here and shoot me in between my shots. But he reacted to my shot and went to I guess this corner, which is not really that great because he's not getting any damage on me. He's not he's not looking for the one shot, but also if I go wide now, it's going to take him even longer to come back around this cover here.
It's such a grim situation as well for both parties, because the thing that I would be thinking about on that first pause where you see that you're ahead of a meal, for me personally, is to actually get round that left corner, like while putting in that damage, because as soon as you take cover on the right hand side, you give them right hand, whether you're damaged or not. And so it's then your job, if you want to push this guy, which inherently it should be because you've got the damage advantage from the start, the situational advantage, if you will. You have to somehow go around without dying or letting him equalize the damage.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Sanely's right now, I wouldn't be pushing you at all. I'd be like, yep, try and push me now, bro, and I will abuse right hand as best I can. In fact, I'd probably pull back to the sandbag next to him, and just to make sure, if you're going to push me, I am not dying, while also being mindful that you don't go around and shoot through the middle fence either on the angle. But yeah, that's such a huge distance advantage is actually quite a pressured situation for people, because they realize they have that damage advantage, that first shot off the cover, but you can't ideally allow them to get right hand, because it's giving away an advantage you didn't necessarily need to.
But if I had tried to play like wide over here and he was sort of still straight lining me, he could make it to me in one shot before my next shot was up as well.
That makes it even more grim. Because it's not only left hand, but your vision is blocked essentially a fair bit, and the tire up A, like the corner is so quick to close that gap. It's a very dodgy cover, the baby steps. It was the same on Gears 4. I think if playing this in my mind, what I would have personally done, given that I tend to play for damage whenever possible anyway, so it's natural for me, is to use the side box on the staircase to perhaps up A round on the left hand and immediately take the right hand off him. So I'm immediately positioning myself wide so that as soon as I get my shot off, providing I've not like given him a one shot opportunity, I am there standing, blocking his ability to take cover or play passive. I'm there ready to cut that angle off and basically have a strafe battle or damage with him. So then it's not going to end up in a standoff cover to cover like this.
So it sounds like what you would have done is like you shot and then you'd stay back next to this box, because that's kind of like what would probably give you
the second shot.
Yeah, in between your second.
And then go wide when given the opportunity. Maybe even reaction shot off the left hand staircase.
Well,
off the steps to go wide on the second one, especially if I've missed that second shot and I know I've timed it so he can't give me in that cover slide, then that would be great, because you'd have the damage advantage. You've cut their angle off, you've trapped them so they can't escape, and you've also positioned yourself for a third shot that should down him.
Well, what I was saying is when he was coming in and I took that shot, at that point he could slide into this box. He could slide into this box on the side of the stairs on either side, and he can get there before I have my next shot up. If he was straight lining me. If you feel like you have a really good call on what your opponent's going to do, and you're pretty sure he was going to back up and either take this cover or go back behind the sandbag here, or even like run away, you could go for that kind of aggressive play here. But I would say that's like not as safe and probably a lower percent play, because a lot of players that I played with still kind of go for that one shot, and they're pretty successful with the one shot. Like all of this area on the stairs and up into here, and even where I am, is kind of dangerous. It's just that this spot is more covered than and further away than the stairs and the middle of the baby steps. So I felt like this was good enough, but I feel like it's like going back and rewatching this, I feel like I can definitely still die here if he plays like optimally for the one shot.
Bullshit double up A.
Yeah, like a double up A. He didn't even need a double up A. I think he just roadie run a little bit to the side, and then he can get this short angle up A. Yeah.
But I'm sure you accounted for the shots here anyway as well.
Yeah, I went. Yeah, we're always accounting for it. So as soon as he slides in here, this is if I was in his position, I would probably shoot this player and then kind of back up, probably behind the sandbag, but I'm not entirely sure what I would do. I guess I would suggest to do that. But it's kind of tough. Like, you don't want to be in a position like this, where the player that's going to like baby steps or to the position that you're going to is so much faster. And this is kind of where like having optimal initials for spawns and your strategy is like extremely important, because it makes a really big difference because of situations like this.
Yeah, now you understand why.
Yeah, now you understand why,
Because
if you didn't know
it's
before.
complicated everything for this guy. It's really weakened his position, even though he's got right hand. And it's only like, this is the thing about baby steps. Like, it's only as complicated as it is for Aurora or me in that situation, just because it's such a volatile area with like how close the up A is and
Yeah,
weak the left hand position is. If it was a different map, it would be even easier for me or Aurora to capitalize on this right now, which is exactly why I'm so focused on going wide on the left to cancel off this cover, because it is just it's not a advantageous position for like in terms of the map itself, compared to what it could be the same exact situation taken off dam and put somewhere else.
so I do end up deciding to go wide. If he blindly up aid on this corner at the bottom of the stairs on his kind of like right hand, he'll have more information because it's his right hand, but it's kind of committing to that fight. So it's still a bit awkward, even because even if he has right hand. But if he did that, if he up aid and reacted immediately, he could have shot me as I was sliding in to where I am right here, where I paused. But he ends up backing and pulling back, so I'm out of gib range, and he's now like, I don't know, say like 2 point still, roughly, and I'm like 3 point ish, roughly. But as long as I get like a 2 point, 3 point shot on him right here, I can down him and like win the fight.
Fuck, baby.
But I end up sort of missing, and he hits his next shot when I was like half of the decision that I made was still kind of stuck in that, I guess, reaction shot, because I up ate off the green thing.
66 on baby.
Yeah, that's the risk of re-entering into the fight essentially after taking cover on the right, I guess, is that full red brick from Sanely's there.
Yeah, so he can.
It really does take a commit to get across that angle. That commit then was just so damaging.
Yeah, it's
either like you're all in or you're all out essentially with that fight.
Yeah, a lot of fights you kind of need to commit to something, and either you're all in for trying to confirm the killer dying in the process, or being all in with just dipping and like leaving.
Right there as well is a good situation. Like, if this was an execution match, like or if the like grid, or if this was a scrim or an escalation match, Matt has cover advantage right now in the grand scheme of things. He's got Saney's trapped on that stairs. He could essentially even hold him there for a little while. It's not an ideal position to hold because of left hand, but he could actually delay that fight for a long time. He could even call for help.
Yeah.
At some point, rather than risk such a reaction shot like that. And so it's also contextual in that sense. It's still KotH, it's still ranked. It's in a match that's not, say, against TSU, who we've lost plenty of times to, where we need to microscope everything and maximize every tiny decimal point in every situation. And so it's not necessary that you have to fly around a corner like that either.
Yeah, I definitely
So
don't
it's
have to
also
do it.
something to
I just
consider.
decided to do it there because I felt
It was
confident enough.
it was inherently a risk, and for someone who's not as skilled as Aurora and smart, that would be an even bigger risk, and you'd start to question in the situation whether it's even worth it then.
Because I can, if I hold this cover and he's still hurt, if he wants to up A here at all, that's a free down, or even a gib, even if I back A, I could also counter up A. So as soon as he up A's, I could counter up A, and that would probably make the shot even easier. And if he wants to go wide really soon, he'll still be hurt. He wouldn't have regened all of his health. And so that's him going wide, getting wider from me when I'm up on damage. So it's really hard for him to do that as well. So I can sit here, being on the middle line of the map, holding what that would constitute as map control over this guy. So I'm building my team's efficiency by grabbing map control over this guy and holding him here. So I can pay attention to what he's doing, try to listen to him and watch him, see if he's going to go for that double up A or some kind of one-shot play. And if he backs up at all, if I hear anything different, then I'm now in a spot that's in the middle of the map, and I can now influence all of the plat all the way down to nades a little bit. And I can shoot everywhere around this other half of the map as well. Whereas this Emil, he's not in the middle, and he doesn't have any of those angles at all. So if he backs up, he's giving me even more map control because the distance between us is getting larger, and he's not as much of a threat to my good position being in the middle. But yeah, if it was like execution or something, I might have still made the play, but there's like less of a chance of me making the play. It just kind of depends. I mean, you're not going to play like so structured all the time. You're always going to make some kind of, you know, miscalculation or do something a little bit different, and sometimes it's
fun.
yeah, and it's kind of fun too, the force fights.
Fuck. Baby,
One,
baby,
two,
66 on baby.
Two baby. Going for pickup.
On pickup. I have side cross and pickup.
Snipe watching. Snipe watching. Oh shit, that's an enemy. I knew that.
Yeah, snipe watching.
So that was really nice. Like,
Drop
I
might
saw
be
those
down
people in the
before
kill cam. Team ended up
Gone.
doing enough
Okay.
damage to keep those two players in this boom shot, drop shot pickup area. And I ended up getting a good spawn for the side cross. If our teammates weren't crossing at all and they just had shotguns out, it would be much more likely for these players to feel like much more comfortable about either going in for like a one shot or playing together, or what's probably more likely and smarter is to just back out of the area, back down baby steps, and getting out. But if these guys are crossing up here into these guys anywhere in the middle, then they're taking a lot more damage than a shotgun shot. That's kind of why like crossing is really important. It removes a lot of the options the players taking damage have, and it kind of forces their hand, which makes them more predictable as well.
From baby.
But they ended up getting stuck, and then I got a side cross. And then I recognized that they were coming from the middle of baby steps. We have a hill behind me. I go for that defensive smoke play. I'm not really sure about where the best place is to throw the smoke. It also kind of depends on the timing and where the enemies are located in and around baby steps and in front of me. But I ended up throwing right there. And I'm going to back up because it kind of looked like they were just pushing up, which they did. And you know, have one person on the left side and one person on the right side. And if I'd stayed there, I could have
You'd
gotten
be trapped, yeah.
I could have gotten one shot. Yeah,
Pretty much fucked.
I can give up some space there to stay alive, and give them that because they seem to care about grabbing that space a lot.
Rehand says snipe.
Yeah, I'm gonna angle him.
So now we have another defensive smoke thrown probably by this drone that was next to me. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, but now you can hold this smoke, and now this is a super good choke as well. The choke is like half the radius of the smoke. So both of us could literally just have our shotguns pointed into the smoke on where this up A is, which is what I'm doing right now, and the drone could be holding the right side up A as well.
Still going wide of me.
Culture's hurt. Down.
And I decided to shoot through because I didn't think they were going to push through. But I didn't need to do that either. I just decided to shoot. You could just holding the smoke there on those corners, like I was talking about, is probably about just as good as switching between weapons and trying to get damage through the smoke. Probably should have shotgun out, shooting through the smoke, but sometimes you can see the muzzle flash through the smoke, and as soon as that happens and players in the smoke recognize where that's coming from using the visual or an audio cue, they can go for the up A immediately, and they'll, you know, you're now in a one-shot fight. Now we're stacking on the hill. We should be spreading out some, so I take the initiative to come wide to where the frags are, because I noticed they stacked on the hill to cap it, and they're pushing up over here, so I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm the fastest one to the sandbag. I'm playing over here where the frags are.
I think. Sorry.
Go ahead.
This was when I think Toby called Culture dies, so I think him and I rushed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Something
Because you've
like
gone
that.
super wide as well.
Yeah. to play for damage or something like that.
Yeah, and it's about being proactive as well, because right now we just
Coming
know
up,
we
baby.
essentially wiped the team. We know they're elsewhere on the map. We
3,
should
baby.
have time just to kill this guy and then come
Forward.
back
Right.
to reset, and we do actually. See Tiller's barely up the stairs. Matt
Down.
looks like is already trying to go wide, I think.
Yeah, and I'm going wide on this guy,
Yeah, you
Rehans.
are. That's great.
So I see him coming this direction. I come here. He makes it to the truck. Oh, I kind of remember this fight too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good, by the way, Rehans. You beat Matt to the truck there.
Yeah, you did.
You spotted that he's going wide on you. There's nothing else to do on that hill because only 20 seconds left. You've beaten him to that cover, meaning Matt, to make that push, has to get damaged or not do it at all.
Yep.
Which is great. And Matt, like both you doing the right thing.
Yep. It's just Rehans is faster. I think he reacted faster, and then he also had position initially. He was closer to the truck, but he made a really good play, beating me to this really good spot that's kind of wide. And there's no real like cover around the truck too, so like having truck control kind of gives you everywhere around where the other covers are, which is a pretty large area. And it just so happens that this is where the next hill rotates to, so that's good as well. I think I would have done this naturally anyway, but I don't know. So exactly what happened. So Rehans beat me to the truck. I tried to make it up to the truck as well. He got a lot of free damage on me using the snub, which is great because you can switch the snub really fast. And he used the snub really well. So I'm now down on damage, and he has a top truck position. I probably could have and should have tried to make it to the right hand to the back of the truck.
I was about to say.
But I was a little bit slow, and I didn't make that decision fast enough. Like I didn't recognize that fast enough here for some reason. So he made it into the top of the truck, and now I'm in a load of hurt. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say perhaps why you didn't recognize that is because you know instinctively you don't actually have to commit to this at all. You could even, as soon as you hit that truck, that sandbag, and you know he's probably going to try and play for right hand, especially him knowing that you haven't. You could even roll backwards while he's transitioning, and you could just run out through bricks back to wherever the next hill is.
Yeah, this is the
I
next
think
hill.
that's why you were slower there,
But-
because you
yeah.
instinctively knew there wasn't even a need to challenge them totally, and because
Yeah,
he didn't give you an easy opportunity because he beat you there, you instinctively knew that the risk versus reward at this point is just a bit out the window, so you don't necessarily have to challenge it.
yeah, I think that is right. I think I did think I didn't necessarily need to challenge him. I moved up to try to poke, to try to see if I could get some kind of enough of an edge in the fight to warrant pushing and trying to get the kill, because I like doing that a lot. But at this point, when I pulled off and he, like, I didn't have information on where he was because the truck blocks, like, obscures view, and it's really hard to, like, get a good understanding of where that player is. I should sort of just assume that they're playing in the back there. But I kind of, like, miscalculated, and I didn't assume, and he made it to the truck bed. He shot me at, this is about where maxed range poking is with a shotgun in a situation like this. Anywhere closer, and he should be holding a shot. Anywhere farther, and I would just have backed out of the fight. So like this is like this golden zone around where the sandbag is, where he can shoot, and I feel like I might be able to get. If he has a really bad shotgun shot, I might be able to get in and, I don't know, do something. But it's still a lower percent play. I mean, generally what I should have done is backed up. But it's kind of hard to tell what he's doing from behind the truck. He could still be right here, and I wouldn't necessarily know. But yeah, so he ended up making a good play. I made like a bit of a miscalculation. He kind of hit a shot. Nice.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Toby.
And then he hit that last shot to finish off as I was coming in. He could also aim over the top. That would be
No, two of them.
just as good. Even better, maybe.
One shot on me.
Hit
Culture,
cars,
culture,
hidden
sir.
culture.
I think we should try and carry on doing this without such many pauses, because otherwise we could be here a while.
Mac. Okay.
Just as a suggestion,
hurt.
of course, up to you. But
Tiller?
if we're thinking about like doing a YouTube
truck?
video,
Oh, they're
perhaps a lot of viewers would find it better if it was just a bit faster. I don't know.
Make sure you just don't die there.
So we were trying to just deal a lot of damage and stay
Knock me out,
wide
Matt.
of where they are because they had position of the hill.
shit, fuck.
And we kind of made some slight miscalculations
We're
/
We're both 3 dead. We're both
they
3 dead.
just kind of did a burst
Yeah,
of
we went in
damage.
one by one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was slightly that too. Yeah.
Dropping 5. I'm gonna
I
try
think
to get that.
a main thing about King of the Hill as well is in 5v5 high level
They got
KotH,
drop.
it's like all
Culture
in
has
or
it.
all out. That you rarely see like someone
Oh,
just
I got marks.
go in on their own, even if it's
Gotcha.
a little bit quicker. If there's no advantage to do that, like a cover advantage
Rehand
or
is
something.
Serious game.
We're still very much playing in a casual
Coming, Toby.
manner, but we're just throwing throwing in a comm here and there
Where's he at?
to
I'm shot
help
him
us
a
all
little
out
bit. He's very
instinctively,
hurt.
you know.
Down. Can you take him?
It could be played a lot, you know,
His
more
bait
differently
spawned
if
out.
money was on the line and all sorts.
Cap up. I need to get back to spawn afterwards. Right, go back to spawn. They're probably gonna run at me. Yeah, they're trying to.
So I didn't know the
I
situation
got
at the
it,
hill.
hold up.
I just assumed that they like sort of had it, and we were denying them capping. So I went to grab snipe. But if I'd known that we were sort of winning that area, I should have rotated over there instead of grabbing the snipe.
Yeah, if it isn't already clear, like.
But-
Yeah, and that might be helped actually with comms. If it was a serious environment, it might have just been a comm issue rather than like a
in many modes.
any like strict decision making or
Yeah, I had
team
less
cohesion
information.
issue.
I was like on the line there between it being good and bad, and I needed more information. In order for me to get more information, we needed to have comms for that.
Oh, where's that?
Yeah, so 20 seconds left. They've
Yeah.
got the hill, we're trapped to pumping. And so Matt is just working with Nick to find a number here in the middle,
I got rehands, Nick.
at the very least.
Yeah, trying to grab the middle to give us, you know, the most map control
Matt, on my left.
for the next hill rotation, and trying to pick off anyone I can. Yeah,
There he is.
kind of with Nick.
That was nice there. If Nick actually called out to you there, like
Going right.
crossed me, like that would have been a smart call out.
He
knowing that you were
he
there.
sort of did. He said there's like another one there by him.
They're
Yeah.
flying in 2 of them.
And then Sanely's dies. You go really wide to make
Three on
sure he
Toby.
does die without you dying. Nick goes
Where is
behind.
everyone?
Yeah, and then this
It
is
has been quite delayed though because then he held us here,
down.
meaning me, Lim, and I'm guessing Bay were getting outnumbered perhaps.
Tiller's hurt.
over
Probably,
here.
yeah.
Both of them.
Hopefully now that kill on culture has allowed you
on
to
T, rehance.
sit in here for a second to allow everyone to
Nice.
come back and then we can collapse. Lim has got a kill as well.
Nice.
So we've definitely got entry, although Cars just got 2 kills. That's
Snipe 1
just
second,
saved them
frag
pretty
right,
much actually.
I held my shot a little bit there. Just trying to play in the back,
That's nice. Yeah.
move all that. So all these players that we keep fighting, they keep trying to grab the back of the hill, and hoping that their team comes in and helps cross for them. / you know, comes to pick them up. You know, play for that space on the side and the back.
Yeah, it's about delaying as well. You don't want to get into a shotgun fight when you know you're outnumbered, but you kind of want to try and influence things
Lizzie.
for a little while staying alive. So it's a good
That was
decision
so
there to just go
telegraphed.
back and Lancer.
I might go down, Matt.
Yeah, I might go down too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
stand next to me.
You're just waiting. Like that's the situation where most people will just aim at the wall
They
they're
got
about to
sniped.
jump onto, rather than them knowing it's gonna happen. Again, you and Bay, like me and you earlier, were just waiting to go down in that corner.
Yep.
We were getting
We
crossed
were
out.
getting,
At least we were
like,
calling out.
front.
Damage. If we had friendly fire on, that situation would be so much better. Because okay, so both players in that corner would be able to recognize who's taking the most damage, and then as soon as you cross that threshold, it looks like you're gonna stay in a bad position. You can actually kind of like, as they're going past the 2-point threshold or 3-point threshold, the person who's more hurt can get meleeed. So they'll like call out that they're really hurt, and then their teammate can melee res them right next to them, so that it limits the opportunity that the other team has to try to down both of the players simultaneously by getting them both 4-point, and then downing them all downing them both like, you know, within a bullet of each other. Hurt on plat.
Stayers, whatever. Hit.
Down on plat. I'm down.
29 Glizzy. There you go. Another one plat. Baird.
Oh shit. 1 shot. Rehands 1 shot.
4-point Baird. Their side plat. Drops up.
I know I'm about to get
Any
pinched
bear
there, so I'd
enhance?
turn on
Sniper?
one guy,
He's hurt still.
Lit,
try
lit,
and
lit.
push one
Bears
side,
Down.
lit.
which seemed to pay off. A little bit of help from Bay.
Go right on hell.
And there we go. We should have significant numbers.
Still one and
That
out.
Lizzie should
One
die.
on me, Emil.
Tiller's
Down, double
actually
down on me.
pinching us though. The drop has helped so much.
Yeah, it's crazy how big of a difference one kill can make from like a drop shot. Peaky angles.
Come on, baby. Come with you, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Cross him.
So I made the right play there, and I backed up in between those shots on the
I'm gonna
Emil.
drop that in a second.
Yeah, that was sick. Backwards bounce, perfect opportunity
in,
there to
Coulter.
do that.
Nice.
It should always be an option just to make sure you don't get gibbed when you have a damage advantage like that, especially when you have cover advantage as well. Situationally, like
4.0,
the hill is
baby.
behind Matt, it's not in front. He doesn't need to go anywhere.
So right
He can take
here,
as long as
next-
he wants.
right here with drop, I saw a guy at baby steps, but we have like control over here. And the next thing that I was thinking about before rotating, I should have been sort of thinking about rotating. But what I was thinking about short term is if players were coming from some side, I was going to try to keep the drop until they get closer to the hill before I tried to use the drop to get at least one confirmed kill. Because that it kind of counters the push that they're trying to make together. It kind of says, like, I'm going to wait for you to commit, and then I'm going to nerf that committal, like try to counter it as much as I can.
This is the truck. on the-
Instead of using the drop to kill the guy that's by himself over at baby steps, I kind of want to use it for situations that I feel like are a little bit more important. So when they're trying to push in for the hill, or when they're trying to set up at the next hill over there.
the side.
Where they are?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you have about
Go all the way
three,
around small.
uh,
I'm gonna
a
I'm
3
gonna drop
second, it's like 3 or 4 second window between when your current active goes away on the drop, and then the next one comes back up.
Back truck.
It's really
Pretty well
fast, so
away.
you should pretty much like almost always have active up. And then I recognize that player in the back of the spawn is the one closest to that corner, and I felt like I had a really good opportunity to kill them with that active drop shot. I felt really good about killing them with it. So I decided to go for that shot and then try to play for this player that was closer.
Changing above each other. Nice.
I'd be hoping
There
right
you
now
go.
that someone
Keep
else
going
is
wide,
behind
keep
you
going
because I
wide.
remember calling out. There it is, Bade, right there. I was calling out, right, this guy dies, we have to push, we have to go, because I could see that everyone is here now at this point.
I spawned
And
above
before, and we have to do it fast because they know we're
They
all
got
here. They've seen
frags.
us through the crack of brick. So we
Coming
need to
from
go
frags,
before we
yeah.
get pinched.
Right.
And we had a bit
Main
more
side.
element,
Keep spawning,
element of
someone get
surprise.
spawned.
Yeah, I'm
Attack
going
And it
back.
seemed to pay off
There's two,
well.
two.
Matt's taken the
Oh
truck
shit, on me.
angle, meaning it's pretty much
Close 4
impossible
point.
for them to get back in if Matt doesn't miss.
If the
But right now we've given the spawn away, which was what I was complaining about.
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, we
We
did.
completely gave the
Pushing
spawn
you,
away
truck?
in favor of the hill.
I'm down.
People need to be tack calming at this moment, knowing that, oh, we're going to be good. It's only one guy running away, and some other guys
tack
on the
calm,
team
like,
can
aware
pick up the
that's when
hill.
you've
But
essentially
because we
won the
gave
game.
away the angle totally,
Spawn
Kaz has killed me and Bay, and Emil's collapsed on us. So yeah, like that's like a big blunder from us as a team, though.
Yeah.
Give that angle away completely.
Barrett's 3 point, 4 point, rehance.
How can you hit that? Jeez.
And this down should never happen.
And-
The one on
and
this
Emil.
Emil.
Emil 4. Stanley's 4. 1 shut down.
Right, let's go. Let's take spawn.
I mean, it was a really strange angle. I
smoked
could
the truck.
somehow hit him when he was moving on the cover while crouched.
Yeah,
Back.
Oh.
that's unfortunate for him.
Just go next. Actually, 10 seconds left.
And it was just as the moment his
Yeah, yeah,
teammate
yeah.
was rotating off as well to the truck.
Is it-
How crazy's right there.
He should call out he's really hurt and then move over to rehands or something.
Yeah, some combo.
I'm here, Nick. I'm gonna throw instance in a
How long's
second.
left now? Yeah, next.
There's
So it
another
should
one
be
on the right.
rotating off early.
I'm trying to fly in and grab the pillar because having the pillar right here is extremely strong.
Nice.
Yeah, before everyone rotates as well, you've got incense. You've done really well here. Nick should
Max
clean
there?
up. Yeah, he
Coming
does.
on
Yeah, the stream's a bit delayed, by
out.
the way, guys, if
Down.
you're wondering why I'm talking shit.
Yeah.
Watch it, Nick.
Yeah, and now we've been snowballing kills.
Yeah, now we're
Push
snowballing.
the hill, we can start set
Yeah,
up.
I'm crossing.
And because we've got the other team staggered, you can see Matt and Lim now trying to capitalize on
side
that.
cross and
Everyone's trying to
drop.
pinch on them, keep the spawn staggered, keep
Ours is-
rotating them
yeah.
through their spawns,
They got
so
it.
they never have their full 5 up.
He's got drop.
You saw everyone went back to the hill apart from Matt. Matt's lurking
me.
around to see if he can get like angle somewhere else. And that's very well played as well. Just then he ran away, making sure he could not get pushed
These are good.
once he got a bit
Good
damaged.
games.
And that's it.
I like.
Yeah, good game. It was a pretty good game.
I'm being like chill tonight. Like,
The other team was able to capitalize on a lot of mistakes that we made. individually and strategically,
Yeah,
which is
playing-
great
playing
because it
soft
makes
kinda
it
how it's
more
supposed to be.
obvious for us when we've made misplays, and so we learn faster because of that. Because otherwise, sometimes like you can just like individually outskill, and even though you're making a lot of bad strategic plays, you can kind of like come through. But that doesn't, make it as obvious about what you've misplayed, like kind of as a team or whatever.
And hopefully there as well, by the way, like it's kind of like the irony here. I know Kaz was, perhaps not being too serious when he said GG, I might have to start swiping, but most of what we discussed there had like no relevance with mouse and keyboard. There was no like situations where we like really leveraged mouse and keyboard or like everything where anything was even dependent on that. Most of it was decision making. Like that's all we were discussing really. And some of the moments where raw skill was actually important had very little to do with the pistol lancer. It was often just Nasher and accounting for up A's, pushes, etc. So
Somewhat, yeah.
kind of goes to show that to be good on mouse, keyboard, or PC, there's a lot more to it than simply being really good at the game mechanically, mouse wise, and taking advantage of that. But obviously, you have to admit at this point as well, and be mindful of when you are so cognizant of all the different scenarios and variables and stuff. Players like Matt, myself, and others will actually leverage mouse and keyboard damage taken from the Lancer or pistol a lot more punishingly.
Yeah.
We will make much more benefit of that.
Yes,
also.
exactly. Great point, Toby. Yes. So yeah, you can get a little bit more damage out with like mouse, compared to the analog sticks, but at the same time, it feels so much more oppressive because there are players that can leverage that damage. Exactly. Yeah, exactly what Toby said. Yeah. So yeah.
When you snowball those situations together and the little things that can swing fights, then the mouse can start feeling like it can swing stuff. But there's a lot more to it than just having a more accurate lance than the other team,
Right, exactly.